Hello, boys and girls. We are so glad to be back, aren't we, Logger? Huh? Logger and I and Aunt Dee decided to take a month off before school started back up again. And we've been back in school now 2 weeks. And we just decided to do some fun things and hope that the weather stayed as nice as it did. Anyhow, we are really excited to be back with you. And today we're going to read a story about Fancy Nancy. Now, for those of you who may not know about Fancy Nancy, she is a girl that's probably about 8 years old or 9, and she loves to dress up and look so fancy, and she likes to use big words. But for any of the words she uses, she always tells us what it means. So today, we're going to read Fancy Nancy and the Posh Puppy. So now, you ready? You got your glasses on. You ready to read? Okay, here we go. And thank you for the kisses. Thank you for the kisses. So, Nancy says, I am ecstatic. That's a fancy word for happy. We're going to get a puppy. A real puppy. I hope we get a papillon, like our neighbor's dog. You say it like papillon. In French, it means butterfly. Isn't that look at this little puppy. Papillons have butterfly-like ears, big butterfly-like ears. But they're very little dogs. I help Mrs. Levine take care of Jewel. We take her to the beauty parlor, and we buy her new ensembles. That's a fancy word for clothes, isn't it? Look how fancy. Papillons are so posh. That's a fancy word for fancy. Look, bug. Logger. Hey, look. There's only one problem. My parents. Papillons like to stay indoors, my dad said. They're little and delicate, my mom says. Delicate means very, very tiny. What about those dogs? My mom and dad have magazines, and in them there's a picture of a golden retriever and a German shepherd and a Great Dane and a Doberman. I shake my head. Too big, too brown, too plain. Sometimes it's hard being the only fancy person in the family. Look at that. Then I get an idea that is spectacular. That's a fancy word for great. We can puppy sit for Jewel. My parents say okay. So does Mrs. Devine. My family will see how happy we'll be with a papillon puppy. Will they be happy? Look at this. This is Mom and Dad pulling a wagon with all of Jewel's necessities, things she needs every day. I introduce Jewel to my doll, Maribel. I show my sister how to groom Jewel and how to scoop her poop. That's one of those things you've got to do. My sister wants to hold and kiss Jewel. I tell her, you must be gentle. What a responsible girl you are, my mom says. Some dog is going to be very lucky. Merci, I say. That's French for thank you. 2 of my friends are walking their dogs. Come over to my house. I say, I'm puppy sitting. All the dogs can play together. Just like you and your friend Buck and your friend Andy. You guys all get together and play, don't ya? Rusty splashes in the wading pool. Logger has a wading pool. Jewel hides behind my legs. Scamp plays fetch. Go, Jewel, go get the ball, I yell. Jewel just looks at me. Go fetch, that's what Fisher likes to do. She gets exhausted pretty quickly, I tell my friends. That's a fancy word for tired. While Jewel gets her beauty rest, we have refreshments. So they have cookies and juice, but Jewel's all covered up on a bed. Oh no! Look what my sister is doing. Poor Jewel is terrified. Her sister's got her in the wagon up on like 3 or 4 pillows. Mom, come quick, Jewel's going to be sick. Ah, ah. That was Jewel being sick. When we get our Papillon, I'm not letting her near it, I say. My mom whispers, she doesn't know better. She was trying to be nice. I know. We take Jewel back to our house. She is a perfect dog for Mrs. Devine, but maybe she isn't the perfect dog for us. I'm so sad, like Lager seems to be. I hardly get fancy when we go to the King's Crown for dinner. She's hardly dressed up at all. On the way home, we drive by the animal shelter. Let's take a look, my mom says. All those dogs need a family to love them. I ask the lady that works there, are there any fancy dogs here? And she says, I think I have just the dog for you. She's funny and playful and smart and cuddly. Her name is Frenchie. Oh, what a perfect name for Nancy. Frenchie. I like the sound of that, Nancy says. Frenchie runs right to me and jumps in my lap. She likes it when my sister hugs her. Frenchie is the perfect dog for us. My dad says Frenchie is a LaSalle Spaniel. That is a very unique breed. Unique is a fancy word for one of a kind. You know what? Maybe that's even better than fancy. Do you think unique is a better word than fancy? Because I think fancy does. Yeah, you're unique, aren't you? So anyhow, while Lager sits here and tries to go to sleep, we're just going to say that this is the end of our video. We hope you've enjoyed it. We hope you're subscribing and watching LagerTails. And we're back now, and we hope to get out a lot more videos for you guys to read this year. In the meantime, remember what Lager says. Don't forget, wash your paws. Talk to you next time. Bye.